Welcome to episode 301 of the Working Fans Podcast. As always, a lot of wrestling to talk this week. And first, a lot of people that watch us aren't subscribed. So please, if you're watching us and you like what you see, you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. We're going to be talking about this a lot because an event coming out 2 weeks from today, we have the interview coming out tomorrow. And I'm not going to fuck up this name this time because it's Outcast Wrestling Revolution is putting on a free show in the Griswold area, Veterans Memorial Park. There's going to be water slides, bounce houses, slip and slide, all kinds of things going on. There's going to be music, but the main event, 6 to 8:30, Outcast Wrestling Revolution will have a live show. Please come down, support Connecticut wrestling. And if you're going to support independent wrestling, we got to talk about an event next weekend, New Heights Wrestling. You may know us as a podcast, but when we're not doing this, we have a wrestling commentary gig. Yeah. And Dave, Grand Slam is coming up. I'm excited for what's been announced on this card so far, because as always, card is subject to change, but pay attention to New Heights Wrestling's social media accounts to see all of what's going on. Dave, on the pre-show, this feud has not ended. It's the Pumpkin Patch and the Supernaturals again. We saw at the last event, the Pumpkin Patch going from their usual fun-loving selves to being a little more hard-hitting, a little more focused on that win. Who do you got? Do you got these mysterious pumpkins, or do you have this superhero from God knows where who is meeting up with this earthly human known as the Goon? This is a hell of a way to kick off this event.
I think it's the Pumpkins' time. I like the aggressive attitude. I got the Pumpkin Patch all the way here.
Yeah, they don't want to let these Supernaturals cement themselves too much in New Heights Wrestling. And this is a matchup we haven't seen yet. These two ladies are not new to New Heights Wrestling. Jody Just Jody debuted very recently. We've seen BB before. We have two women's matches on this card. This might be a first for New Heights Wrestling. Do you go with Jody Just Jody, who has showed us heart every appearance she's had, or BB, who wants to make a splash in New Heights Wrestling?
I got Jody here. I think Jody's been out to prove herself. She's had some good showings recently. I think this is Jody's time.
Yeah, she wants to put herself in that thought of the women's championship. And another debut. You saw the promo if you're watching the social media. The Bombshell Bruiser, Stella Wren, is stepping into the ring with Raven Knight. I always like to see a new debut in New Heights Wrestling, but Raven Knight, there's just something about her. There's been this slight change in attitude that I think we noticed at the last event. I feel like Raven Knight is going to take this victory.
Oh, yeah. Got to go Raven Knight all the way. The aggressive attitude. She's out to prove something. Raven Knight.
And then the last announced match, it is a 4-way match for that New Heights Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Mike Faison versus Alec Jagger versus Suicidal Soldier, who's defending here, versus the Cali Man. Alec Jagger really wants to get that title, wants to catch up to Mike Faison in championship reigns. Cali Man thinks the whole show is about him. He is ready to add to his most decorated status in New Heights Wrestling. And then you've got Soldier, he's got a 1 in 4 chance of winning this. He does not have to be pinned to lose this championship. All that being said, I'm going with Soldier nonetheless.
All right. Well, to be different, I like Soldier's chance, but I will go with Mike Faison. I think Mike Faison has got the power, and I think he's been overlooked for a long time, and I think this is his opportunity.
We're going to have to keep an eye on first string with Alec Jagger. Could they play a factor in this match? And we've seen promos from the Russian Destruction Vladimir Koloff debuting. Like we said, always good to see a debut. This feels like the show with the most debuts in a while. Chris Spider wants to settle things with Chuck Diamond, and there is a wild card coming to New Heights Wrestling. Who or what is that? You're going to have to go June 14th to the live event or pay attention to the social media to see how this shakes out. And we're going from independent wrestling to TNA against all odds. The event is tonight. Dave, let me know what this card looks like and what kind of matches can we expect on this?
All right, looks like we got a pre-show match here. The Elegance brand, Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, will be taking on Zyla Lee, Harley Hudson, and Mila Grace. Also, it looks like an M by Elegance too will be a part of this team. So I've seen the Elegance brand. It looks like it's a pretty good stick here, but I don't know. Brookside. We'll see what happens. I'll go with the Ash by Elegance brand here.
Yeah, I got to go with the Elegance brand. Hopefully it's a good match. I wanted to shit on this at first because I'm not as much a fan of the Elegance team, but I kind of like the hearing that they're up against people, some that I'm familiar with, some that I'm less familiar with, but I can't pick against Elegance.
Okay, the System. JDC, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers with Alicia Edwards versus the Hardys, Leon Slater, and to be announced. So don't know everybody there. I'm going to go with the Hardys and Slater and whoever they got as a partner, though, because I think they've been really pushing Leon Slater lately.
Me as well, and I will choose that as well. That's probably better grammar there. And Dave, let's do a little speculation. Who is going to be that unannounced person? I feel like this is a perfect spot for like an NXT talent.
Yeah, this is true.
It's in Arizona, so you kind of want to stay away from people that might be popping up on that Worlds Collide. Like my first choice would have been Javon Evans. I think he'd be interesting on that team with the Hardys and Leon Slater.
I'll go Javon Evans. A lot of people are doing double duty this weekend. Arizona's not that far away from California. It's only a day. I'll go Javon Evans. I like that.
I mean, I feel like you talked me into it. I threw out that name because that's the person I thought most fit. And then I'm like, well, if he's out, who would be the next most likely?
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about double duty when we get to that card. Also on this card, Jason Hotch, who I'm not too familiar with, will be wrestling Mustafa Ali. No offense, Jason. I'm going Mustafa.
Yeah, I feel like I should know who that name is, but I'm not familiar, so I'm going with Ali as well.
Steve Macklin's going to defend the TNA International Championship against Mance Warner. I like old Mance here, but I'll say Macklin's been rolling lately. I'll keep the title on Macklin.
That's going to be a heck of a match, but yeah, Macklin's coming out on top in that one.
Henry versus Kazarian. Joe Henry, Frankie Kazarian. Interesting, just because Joe Henry just lost the title. I'll say Joe Henry's not done with TNA yet and not done with title contention. He's going to beat Frankie Kazarian. But I do feel like Joe Henry's time at TNA is winding down.
I'm going to say Frankie Kazarian beats him, and that's almost the send-off to Joe Henry in TNA.
Santina Morella with Ariano Grace versus Robert Stone with Tessa Blanchard. Winner will be the official TNA Director of Authority. I'll go with Santino.
So Santino and his daughter win it. Ooh.
It's a singles match. The women are just in the
they're in the corners.
Yeah.
So Santino versus Robert Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Could Robert Stone go from Evolve commentator, NXT personality, to director of operations in TNA? I think that's a bit much of a step, so I believe Santino is going to get the win here.
All right, keep rolling here. Masa Slamovich versus Lee Young Lee. This is the former Xia Lee in WWE. She's been on a tear at TNA, but I don't see Masa Slamovich dropping that title yet.
No, me neither. It's got to be Masha retaining.
All right, this should be fun. The Nemeth brothers defend the tag titles against the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Rentz. Um, I'll say the Nemeths are keeping it still for now.
I'm gonna go with the Rascals. I feel good about them taking these titles off of them.
Trick Williams in the main event defends the TNA Championship against Elijah, the former Elias here. I got to go Trick Williams. I don't think Elijah is going to be the guy to take that title off him.
No, they've built up Elijah's contention well for it. Like, he seems like a viable challenger given everything we've seen on TV. But no, Trick ain't losing it here, and Elijah's not that guy. So that's the TNA Against All Odds show. Nice little show tonight. We'll have to see where you can watch it. Is it only on the TNA Plus app? And since it doesn't look very likely that Vince is coming back to WWE, it's interesting to see, and this was all the news this week, about R-Truth being released. It was funny because this was sent in a group chat. I got to work. Somebody at work was asking me if I had heard about R-Truth, and I'm like, no, it's kind of funny that nobody messaged me about this. Then I checked my phone. There was a message about this. I couldn't believe it. The wrestling world couldn't believe it. Dave, obviously you were pretty shocked as well. What do you think about this move?
Surprising, but at the same time, it's only really weird to me in the sense that you just had him feuding with John Cena and you had him spotlighted more than even recently. R-Truth's an older guy. He's in great shape. He's hilarious. But, I think Brian Alvarez pointed out, like, he's made a lot of money not doing a lot of stuff in, the last decade. So, good for him. This guy's going to make a ton of money still. If he wants to stay in wrestling, he'll make some more money elsewhere. And, I don't know. He had a great run. But, it was shocking to see. I am just more curious now what is next for R-Truth.
Yeah, it was wild to hear that he's somebody that's been there since the Attitude Era. And, always great comic relief. Even if they weren't using him, he would pop up and he'd be valuable where he was. A lot of what we've heard about some of these releases is it's really, it's what they make. They make more than what they believe these guys are worth.
Yeah.
So it's tough to see him go. You kind of get it from a WWE standpoint. It was wild because there were other releases. You had Valhalla got released. And then also another interesting release was Carlito, because this is another guy, not a huge player, but was featured in Angles. Recently won the WWC Heavyweight Championship in Puerto Rico. And then it was announced that they weren't renewing his championship. Were you more or less surprised by this release?
Less surprised. They weren't really doing a lot with Carlito. Carlito's been out of WWE before, in and out. But that being said, he's another one that was kind of in the background, featured on TV every week, didn't do much. He's one that actually, he joked about this, I guess, in an interview. And he said, my lawyer said I might owe them money. Basically, I've been backstage playing video games for the last year with the Judgment Day. So, hey, good for Carlito making that money. Good for him, already winning championships. It seems like he was even more active outside the promotion. He doesn't seem to have any ill will about it. So, again, not as surprising as R-Truth, just because R-Truth has been steadily there for so long. But I will say, somebody they maybe could have done a little more with since he came back. Great shape, great personality. But, another one I'll be interested to see what he does next.
Yeah, this was interesting because of winning that championship outside of the company. Won it against Ray Gonzalez. And that's not the only championship that changed hands this weekend. And I still have yet to watch this match because, as you told me, if you set your VPN to Mexico, you can watch AAA events on Max. This was a game changer. This was mind-blowing. I really wanted to watch this event to see this because there was all that noise the other week about this match getting announced as a title match. And then they took the graphic off. And then El Hijo del Vikingo pins Alberto Del Patron for that championship. Obviously, the right move if AAA is going to be working with WWE. What did you think of that whole situation? And does it make you ready for the big event this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Vikingo at the big event this weekend because he is a phenomenal talent. We've seen him in AEW have great matches with Kenny Omega. We've seen him on independents like GCW. We've seen him in TNA, and now it's going to be cool watching him on the big event Saturday with AAA talent, WWE, NXT. Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I thought the match was good. I did get to watch it, and yeah, so good on him. But maybe we should get to that next big event because.
Well, Dave, I gotta say, I do notice we have a comment in the comments here, which we're gonna get to after we talk about WWE Worlds Collide, which is taking place tomorrow. I gotta say, this is one of those events that we are most excited for. You know, just since it was announced that AAA was purchased, you're having WWE versus NXT versus AAA. Let's run down that card. I'm excited to make some predictions.
All right. I love the fact we're at a five match card again. So I love this already. All right. Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Angelo and Berto versus Hijado Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. I do this better than my Japanese names, huh? I have to say, I got to go with Legado here. I don't think it's going to be like all WWE talent winning on this, but in this particular match, I think Legado del Fantasma is a good heel faction, and we're going to be seeing more of them as time goes on. Although I will tell you, and maybe you're more knowledgeable and equipped to tell me about this, I am excited to see Psycho Clown. I've heard a lot of things about him, hardcore talent, and a lot of people are saying they're very shocked to see Pagano and Psycho Clown on a WWE event.
And that's why I'm picking Psycho Clown, Pagano, and El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. Because Psycho Clown, one of the biggest stars in AAA. Pagano, great hardcore wrestler. Psycho Clown can get hardcore as well. And I believe they're going to defeat Legado del Fantasma.
All right. Another match here. The Latino World Order, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Lince Dorado versus Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and a guy that stole my heart this weekend, Mr. Iguana. I don't know if you've seen a lot of Mr. Iguana, but this guy is basically his characters. He's a shoot iguana. He comes out here painted like an iguana, got a little tongue sticking out like an iguana. He's got an iguana puppet on his hand. I don't know what to expect from this guy, but I love it. I am going to pick them, actually. So
wow, this is one where I'm picking the WWE talent on this side of things. I think it's going to be a great match, but yeah, I don't see, especially with them adding Lince Dorado to the team. I feel like they got to get the win.
All right. I might be jumping the gun here with my iguana fandom, but all right, here's another matchup. I'll be going with WWE on this one. Stephanie Vaquer and Loa Vice versus Chick Tormento and Dallas. I believe it's Dallas. I just think Vaquer is being pushed too heavily right now, so I think that they'll get the win.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see some Mexican women's talent in there, but you can't pick against the WWE talent in this one.
All right, here's one where I'm going with might be an upset. But Ethan Page defending the North American Championship against Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix. I'm going Laredo Kid, and I'll explain that maybe a little more in our next match, but I think Laredo Kid is going to walk out NXT North American Championship, and I think it's going to be a big victory for AAA.
I want to pick Javon Evans.
Yep.
But it's when you lay it out like that with Laredo Kid and that integrates that AAA talent more into WWE, I got to
Mm-hmm.
go with Laredo Kid.
And in the main event, another reason why I'm picking Laredo, it's Chad Gable versus Hijo del Vikingo, AAA Mega Championship. I think Chad's walking out with his title. I think it's to create this heel heat, and I think it's going to set up a big main event match for Triple Mania later in the year. And I think that Gable will get help from a masked man who will be dressed up like El Grande Americano, and we're going to be having a lot of that going on. So that's my prediction.
I'm gonna pick Chad Gable just because of the way you laid that out. I really can't wait for this event. This is free on YouTube, so you'd be a fool not to watch this, and we'd be a fool not to answer this comment. But first, we got Bronson Reed versus Bam Bam Bigelow. I love this comparison that you did because I was looking at it. They both have the diving headbutt. They're both giant individuals, or I don't know if Bronson does the flying headbutt, but he's not afraid to come off that top rope.
Big splash.
And this is like the newest big monster versus like one of the classic ones in wrestling. Who do you got, Dave? Is it Bronson Reed? Is it Bam Bam Bigelow?
Yeah. Classic monster versus future monster. Freddy Krueger versus Frankenstein. Who's getting the win? I'll tell you what, I like big Bronson Reed. He is a lot of fun. And the more I see him with Seth Rollins, I think he's fortunate in the sense the way he's going to be booked and the way he's going to be treated. And I think he's very fortunate in the era of wrestling he is. Because Bam Bam Bigelow in this era, if booked like that, could have been that star because he's got everything. Bigelow is one of the most agile big men of all time. Moonsaults, flying headbutts, you name it. Legit badass. No offense to Bronson. I like Bam Bam in this matchup.
Same here. I want to choose Bronson Reed because obviously we've seen him most recently, but Bam Bam, classic athletic big man, could really get it done in the ring. Maybe it's just my nostalgia, but I find it hard to pick against Bam Bam.
All right.
And I love seeing the comments here. But what I also love seeing is Money in the Bank. We have multiple events this weekend. This has to arguably be the biggest one. Sponsored by Cash App, also in Los Angeles. Let's run down this card. Let's give some predictions. And please, if you're commenting, hit that like button, hit that share button, subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to it. Haya Valkyria versus Becky Lynch, Women's Intercontinental Championship. They're meeting again. Valkyria won the last time but got attacked. You know, I made a comment at WrestleMania that I like Haya Valkyria, but to me, she's kind of there and isn't like showing me that next level. She's starting to show me that next level star. I almost feel like the right move might be to make her heel. But nonetheless, there are some stipulations in this match. If Lynch loses, she can no longer challenge for the title as long as Valkyria is champion. If Valkyria loses, she will be forced to raise Lynch's hand and acknowledge Lynch as the better woman. I say Becky's going to find a way to win, and Valkyria is going to do that, and this is going to start the Valkyria heel turn.
Yeah, Becky's walking away with that win in here, and it's going to break Valkyria's spirit for something, I know.
All right, let's look at some more of these matches here. I don't know if these are the right order, but this is what we're doing. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul tag match. I'm going with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. I think Cody Rhodes will get the pin on John Cena. And I think Jey Uso is going to take a beating, setting up a lot of stuff for Jey Uso's match with Gunther the next night on Raw as Jey Uso continues, to be the fighting champion. I think they're going to play into that. I think there's going to be some storyline stuff coming with that. But I don't see Jey and Cody losing here. I think this will set up Cody getting the win, and we'll be building for a Cody Cena rematch maybe at SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's a way for John Cena to take the loss and not lose the championship. And Cody and Jey are like almost too big a stars to lose in this. Like, if they do lose, there's going to be some fuckery in that match, and it's definitely going to push the story forward. But most likely, I don't see Cody and Jey losing.
All right, let's get to the two ladder matches. This is what the event's all about. The women's ladder match: Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley versus Julia versus Naomi versus Stephanie Vaquer. This to me is wide open. I can see any of these women possibly winning. I think Roxanne has got her thing going on with Judgment Day, so I don't think it's going to be her. Julia is new and they want to put her over, but I think they kind of teased her and Selena Vega, so I thought, okay, maybe she'll win the women's U.S. title. So to me, the interesting ones here are Stephanie Vaquer, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, and Ripley. Ripley doesn't need this. I would say Vaquer probably needs this the most, or this would be a great addition to Naomi's character. It's kind of silly, because especially when you know what I'm going to predict next, but I'm going to go Stephanie Vaquer. I'll say she walks out with the ladder.
I'm going Alexa Bliss. I'm going to go a little different on that one.
I like that. I like that pick. All right. Now this is where I'm going to get crazy. All right. The men's ladder match. Solo Sikoa versus LA Knight versus Penta versus Seth Rollins versus Andrade versus El Grande Americano. I'm going El Grande Americano. This is my fantasy booking here for you. Who I already predicted Chad Gable will win the AAA Mega Championship earlier that day. I say El Grande gets unmasked here. We know it's Chad Gable, but he'll wear the mask again. It's just going to be one of those things. And he's going to win. He's going to walk out here with the briefcase. I'll tell you what sets up. Again, I talked about Jey Uso being the fighting champion, taking the beating. He's got a match with Gunther for the title this Monday. Gunther's going to beat him down. He's going to beat up that ankle probably or something. Jay's going to find a way to window. Goldberg will come out and make the save because they're building potentially. Rumors are Goldberg and Gunther are going to have a match. It's going to be Goldberg's last match. While all this chaos is going on, here comes Chad Gable or El Grande Americano with the briefcase, ankle lock. Jey Uso passes out. New WWE World Champion El Grande Americano and Chad Gable, his other alter ego, will be the AAA Mega Champion at the same time. That's my prediction. And we'll set up matches with Chad and possibly El Kingo or Penta or somebody down the road for the AAA title plus the WWE title possibly. Who knows? But I think it's a great way to intertwine everything.
God, you should become a salesman because you got me picking El Grande Americano in that match.
Hey, and keep the comments coming.
Yeah, it looks like a great event. We'll read our first comment here. Great show, guys, from Randy Osga. Randy, thank you for tuning in. We're going to read some more comments here in a minute, but AEW was a supersized episode this week. 4 hours is a lot of AEW. I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch it. I'm going to catch up on it at some point this weekend. Was 4 hours too much this week?
It's tough to remember everything that was happening. You know, we built up some stuff. The biggest thing I'll say, the takeaway from this was that Kenny Omega won a fatal 4-way, kept his international title, but we set up Okada and Omega. They got into a brawl. You know, Kenny fucking stiffed Okada with like a jab to the face. Looked like he buckled him. Okada was going for the Rainmaker. Kenny went for the Angel's Wings, Fallen Angel. It was too long a show. Bottom line is Okada escapes, but we have a winner-take-all match. The Continental title, the International title, everything will be up for grabs at All In, and that was the big takeaway. To answer your question, was it too long? Yeah, 4 hours for any show is just too long for me. WWE, AEW, I don't care. It's just too long.
Yeah,
it's impossible for it not to be too long. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, 4 hours this week, 4 hours next week. And you want to talk about impossible. Yes. I want to say it is impossible that this week's NXT event was not the best NXT ever. I could not believe, obviously you had the Mariah May debut. Yeah. You had so many people from so many areas of WWE. I love the integration on this show.
Yeah.
I was listening to a recap of it, and it made me stop and turn on NXT to watch this here.
You had Sean Legacy from Evolve, I thought really got elevated with this, who I believe is on an ID contract. I don't even know if he's officially signed yet, but they're booking him very well. If he's not signed, they might want to sign him like yesterday because I think AEW could offer him money and then WWE would have to match, and who knows? So this guy's going to cost you like $1 million. So you're going to have to let him go. Get this guy signed. But between the stuff with Evolve, even the stuff with LFG, there's still references with is it Tamarick Steele?
I forget what the lady's name is, but she had a very good match here. Yeah. Really showed why they used her. Then you had the men's winner, I believe, is going to be in a match next week. So they set that up well. Yeah,
they did that. We had the TNA heavyweight title being defended by Trick Williams, an NXT star, in the main event against Mike Santana, who cut a great promo. We had, of course, the AAA stuff going on. Like I said, Mr. Iguana was in the crowd. It's just so fascinating to see all these different talents coming together under one roof. And, of course, the big showstopper was Mariah May. At least that's what we're calling her still for now. Definitely seems to be still referring to herself as the glamorous Mariah May. She showed up.
I don't even think they mentioned her by name. I think they just said glamorous. As
they said, she said that this division just got more glamorous, and the crowd chanted Mariah May. But you're right; they have not said that yet. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. But yeah, this was a fantastic episode of NXT. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it was great to see Swipe right on there. A lot of good stuff on this episode. And there was a lot of good stuff on our episode. So please, if you enjoy what you saw, please hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. And before we get to the comments, we just want to play a couple commercials from some people we do business with. Author Ray Lopez presents Lockup, professional wrestling in our world. Lockup dives headfirst into the colorful world of professional wrestling. Explore the iconic characters, careers, matches, history, and families, and delve into the bizarre and fascinating entwining of professional wrestling and film, television, football, politics, gender, and race. Pre-orders are available now on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com. This is the perfect gift for the wrestling fan in your life. Pick up a copy today on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com.
Hey, all you goddamn wrestling fans out there, listen, Old Black Bart has got a book. It's called Wrestle. Black Bart. It's got some dadgum good stories in there about some dadgum good wrestlers.
Read stories of Dusty Rhodes, the Von Erich, Scott Casey, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Ron Bass, Bruiser Brody, Mike Davis, the Grappler, and many others.
And I guarantee you one thing, that it'll be the best dadgum read you've had in a long, long time.
Get your book today at Russellville.com or on Amazon. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Hey fans, it's the man they call Dave with producer Joe, and you probably know us as the commentary team for New Heights Pro Wrestling, but when we're not doing that, we got a podcast.
That is the Working Fans Podcast, where we talk pro wrestling, comedy, MMA, and so much more.
And tell them about that signature segment.
Oh, you talk about the 531?
You know I am.
That is a homegrown creation that has been our namesake. And if you want to know our namesake, we got Chevy, AJ Strange Brew, as well as the two of us.
And why don't you go to our channel, like, subscribe, show us some love.
Rate, review, all of it.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville. It's where wrestling lives.